Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Kaur Aura podcast. My name is Satveer Kaur and I've created this podcast to share uplifting, positive narratives, to motivate, encourage others to work on their own well-being, work on their own self-development, and just really come out there and be and embrace their true, authentic self, right? Who would not want that?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We agree with that.
Thank you. So, guys, I mentioned in a previous podcast episode, I spoke about an amazing group that I'm working with, and I have been for the past year. This group is dedicated to providing inclusive, expressive spaces for people with additional needs, with a special focus on neurodivergent individuals. So I'm now joined with the founder of Shine Arts and Wellbeing, and one of their amazing members. So welcome, Louise and Quinton. Woo!
Absolute pleasure to be on your podcast. Thanks for inviting us.
Oh, no worries at all. I just had to, guys, with obviously we work together and just the amazing things you're doing and the amazing group that you are. I really wanted to highlight it and bring the awareness to it and just the amazing things that you're doing for the community. Do you know what I mean? So I had to bring you guys on. So Louise, just to start off, just give us a quick background to who you are, what you're all about, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, so Shine Arts and Wellbeing is a group that's aimed to support and help neurodivergent young adults and older adults and anybody with an additional needs. So my background was that I was an art teacher for just under 20 years, then a special needs teacher, but came out of that kind of quite restricted educational system, if you like. Wanted to do something a bit more free, a bit more creative, a bit more individual. So I started in 2022 in September. I started what's called a CIC, which is a community interest company. So we are like a charity in the sense that we're non-profit, but we don't have a board of trustees. And, I'm the founder, and I actually I'm very blessed with lots of volunteers. So volunteers come in and help me. We do art, craft, well-being. We go on trips. We collaborate with lots of other local projects. We just try and do some really impactful work, which obviously brings out the talents of the group members, but also brings them together. And that kind of is key. And I know that Quinton's a huge fan of both what you do and what we do. So he wanted to be first on the interview list. Yeah, it's very varied.
Of course. And I wanted to ask, with creating such an amazing space, what inspired you to start it all in the first place?
Well, really, it was just a kind of natural progression wherein when I was teaching in mainstream schools, even then, because that's how I started, I would have a lot of people coming in at break and lunch, and they would gravitate towards the art department. And as we sort of I got to know those people, we'd realise that quite a lot of them were neurodivergent. And it made me realise that they needed a certain kind of space that they weren't finding on the playground or amongst other peers in the school. Sometimes they were isolated, sometimes they were bullied, but sometimes, they just were very, very creative, and that's why they wanted to be in the art department. And it sort of just falls into place in my mind. I then went into special needs, and again, that was a great experience, very, very educational for me, good for my training, but you also have quite a lot of restrictions there about how you can do things. And then I realised that when these young people were getting to 18, they were, in a kind of special needs college or school, and the provision up to that point has been brilliant. But as soon as they hit 18, it's like off you go into the world. And we know that neurodivergent people, particularly autistic people, are the least employed amongst all of the disabilities. And I was just seeing people getting isolated, and I found that really hard to see. I got involved in a project, myself, and started to try and help out in that way. But then I thought, I can do this under my own steam. I can make my own project. I can bring my art knowledge into it. And that's how it began, just trying to get people engaged who would otherwise be a little bit marginalised in society, and also celebrating neurodiversity, because there is so much talent out there. Sometimes people find it hard to promote themselves, but I can be that person that sort of promotes them and be a voice at times when people don't feel they have a voice, if you like. But yeah, it was really, it's been really amazing. And then meeting people like yourself, because once you get into the community world, you realise there's so much more out there than just schools and colleges. There's all these other people that want to do amazing things, and they all want to collaborate with each other. And I'd never dreamt that I'd be able to do as much as I've been able to do and have so many great people wanting to help me out with it too. It's been amazing.
Amazing. And that's what it is. And that's why you've just highlighted, that's why it's so important to create these spaces for these individuals, because it's definitely needed and it's really benefiting you guys, isn't it? So Quinton, let's have a quick intro to you. And I want to ask you a bit about Shine. So this is the amazing Quinton. And Quinton, how long have you been at Shine for?
The whole time, yeah.
The whole time, 2022. Started the first day, since the first day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow, so you're one of the OGs.
Yes, yeah.
And tell me, Quinton, what is it that you love about this group?
I feel safe, nice, kind people.
Safe and happy. Around like-minded people, I think.
That's it. And that's what a lot have voiced, haven't they? That they find it such a safe space and almost like their second family. And that's what's amazing.
It's like overwhelming. I feel a lot of responsibility thinking that people think that about the group. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh, it's amazing. And like, since working with you guys as well, you can really feel that what you've created and you can see it amongst the members. They speak so highly of you and just the connection they've made amongst themselves.
Some of them knew each other before and some didn't, but there's definitely been a lot. There's definitely been a lot of friendship strengthened, and there's been several new people that have come. I mean, as an example, we have a member, I won't mention names, but this particular member had been very isolated and hadn't actually really ventured out of her house since 2020, and the whole lockdown had knocked her confidence terribly. Before that, she'd had a bad experience at college as well. I mentioned bullying and things like that. And she just became very introverted. Oh, well, nothing wrong with being introverted, but isolated. And then she found out about the group through another mutual community group that I know of, but they didn't offer anything in terms of meeting together in a group as such. So they said, right, she's very arty. I can direct her towards you. And she came along to the group in 2022. And within a few months, we had sitting and talking to people, which before she was pretty much selective mute, showing her artwork to other people, then selling her artwork on a stall that Shine were running, then starting her own craft website, then selling her work on her own craft stalls, and being a member of the group and coming, regularly. And it was like a complete life do-over. And I thought, I didn't dream that I knew that it would be good for people to socialize together and to be creative. But, just that particular story always makes me goosebumps, because you sort of think, how many more people are alone in their own house, not wanting to come out? That sort of agoraphobia is rife amongst neurodivergent people. And you just want to find a way through that. Like walking through the door for the first time is the big one. Once they've been once, most of them stay, which is wonderful.
Yeah. And it's the confidence and growth in them that's amazing to see. Do you know what I mean? What you're creating here, it's very much needed.
Yeah. I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
It's not easy to come and do this when the neurotypical world doesn't always get neurodivergent people. So that, credit to you, Quinton.
Yeah, to the members, they're amazing. And who would you say Shine Arts and Wellbeing is for? Like, what makes it unique? Obviously, with those with additional needs and neurodivergent, but you have a lot of creative individuals in there, like artists. What would you say makes your group unique?
Wow. Well, I think that there's a lot of groups out there, and they provide the social side, maybe. But I think because I'm so passionate about art and my educational background, they're taken very seriously as artists, and we do things that can be quite in-depth or meaty in subject matter. So it isn't just like we make craft, we'll do something that's related to local history, or it's like celebrating our culture, or it's about multicultural and it relates to things that they feel really passionate about, or justice issues. Or we've also written together and we've penned a whole story and illustrated it, which is hopefully getting printed soon. We've help me out, Quinton. What have we done? We've been all over the place. We've been out doing street art, haven't we?
Yeah, shoebox.
We did the shoebox, which was a graffiti piece, alongside another group. So I think what makes us different is the breadth of different things we do.
And we do our magazine.
We publish our own magazine. So actually, I mean, we just do what comes naturally, I suppose. What the things that I feel comfortable that I can offer and suggest to people. And those people, if people in the group like it, then we'll run with it. If they don't, we'll drop it. But there's quite a lot going on. And the wellbeing, which is where you come in.
And yeah, well,
British Sign Language. That's my favourite.
Yes. Yes.
As soon as I started teaching it, which was actually quite a while ago in a previous project I worked at, but he just took it on like that. I already knew a little bit of Makaton, but he was just a natural. Why do you think BSL suits you? What's good about it?
and if people don't understand meditation, I can use BSL and it make it easier. People understand me.
So yeah, if people don't understand, because obviously you've got to speak, and that you can use the sign alongside, so it's like supporting the speech. Teach you some BSL.
Please do, yeah, definitely.
What do we do? Shall we just do how are you? Yeah, and then you. Great day.
Louise, I don't know what happened there. Your background had fireworks. Thumbs up. When you were doing how are you, there was the fireworks. Oh, that was so funny though. It looked really good.
I wish I could make it happen again, but I don't know how I did that. So sorry. No idea how I did that. If you like.
So Quinton, show us that again. So how are you? Show us how to do that.
Should we do I'm fantastic?
Yeah.
I'm fantastic. We did fireworks again. Get him.
Yeah. Make sure.
We can make fireworks happen.
Wow, that's amazing. Look how magical your BSL is. I love
it. Here you are. That's right. So I said he was a superstar. But we're going to do a bit of a turnaround.
Yeah, okay.
So that Quinton can eat.
Just before you go, Quinton, because we're going to have various members popping in and out, guys. Yeah. Quinton, in one word, how would you describe Shine Arts and Wellbeing Group?
Amazing.
Woo! I love that.
I like that. I'm pleased with that. That is a result.
That's it.
The point of it, isn't it? If they're happy, I'm happy.
It is, definitely, and you can really see it. But no, Quinton, thank you for coming on, and I just appreciate you so much.
I know you do.
Goodbye.
Bless. Oh.
See you later. Oh. You have some lunch, lovely.
Yeah.
So welcome, we've got another member with us. So welcome, Max. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Good. So thank you for coming on. Like, seriously, as much as speaking to Louise, I thought it'd be so great to speak to members as well of the group and just to hear from you guys and tell me your opinions and how you feel about
I'm quite a fan of coming to Shine because I like doing types of art that I'm not normally used to doing or sometimes wouldn't think to do.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity to get some of my work printed in the magazine as well.
Yeah, because tell us about your accomplishments, actually, because you're the illustrator, aren't you, of the group?
Yeah, I do a 2-page comic strip for each issue of the magazine.
Amazing. And tell us about, as well, whilst we've got you on here, Max, because I've recently learnt this from coming to the talent show recently of you guys, and your YouTube channel. Let us know about that.
Yeah, so this was an idea I first had earlier in the year, because for Christmas last year, my brother got me a drawing tablet, which has, well, you can get a program for it where you can draw, and it allows you to record like time lapses of you drawing whatever you're drawing, and then that gave me the idea, because I've got a YouTube channel from years ago that I used to use just for mostly a bit of everything, but mostly train related stuff. I figured I might as well revitalise this, and since I'm between jobs at the moment, it means I can make a bit of money on the side. Obviously, I'm not doing it just for money. I do it, but doing it because I enjoy it. And
yeah, it's quite incredible, and we only came to light because we were having this talent show for fun at Shine, and we didn't really realise that there was a whole new kind of a YouTube channel thing that Max had been up to called Wrexham Jet, and it's all about kind of reimagining stories from, because it's a bit of a fandom thing to do with not just trains but Thomas the Tank, but in a really kind of new way. Whereas that he's making the stories much more quirky and interesting and like out there, different scenarios that could have happened but didn't, and then Max draws them. And the quality of the drawing is absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you noticed, but on Wrexham Jet, the followers are in there. I mean, there's a couple of thousand, isn't there, or more?
Yeah, I think it's like 15,000 or something.
What is that the whole thing? So he's got 15,000. I didn't even know it was that many. 15,000.
Something along those lines, yeah.
So you can see the popularity of it.
Yeah.
So we were all saying, you know, that it's better than the original artwork, to be honest with you.
No, it really was. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you won the talent show because of that, didn't you? Woo! And you got a whole prize.
We're the winner.
Well, that's the great thing you see about the group, is that we have a talent show, fun, and it's not, you know, people do sing, people do dance and all the rest of it, but you don't have to. If you're not someone who likes to be on stage, literally bring your artwork, show your artwork, or show it on the screen, and you know, it is a different way of presenting yourself, you see. And everyone was just stunned at how amazing the quality was. So talented, unbelievable.
Very. So guys, anybody listening, please follow, because an amazing channel. I've recently followed you on there, so your artwork is incredible.
Wrexham, sorry, XELJET, Wrexham Jet. YouTube.
On YouTube. Oh, amazing. So please, anybody listening. So Max, whilst you're here, I just want to ask you some more questions about being in the group. So with the group then, how being part of it, because how long have you been with the group for again? Sorry?
Well, I suppose I guess sort of since it started, although sometimes there are times when I've been attending more regularly than others.
Yeah. 2022. You were there in 2022.
Yeah, because I designed the logo.
Yeah, that's right. If you look at the poster that's right behind you, all the logos, the stars and the Ron, we call him Ron because he represents a neuron in the brain. Yeah, for the magazine. And the whole idea was that he was the mascot for the magazine. Yeah. And that was designed in 2023, I think. Yeah. So he's been on the scene every year since we began.
And how does it make you feel? Like, what does this group bring to you?
Well, I suppose, like I said before, like opportunities, I think, is a word that I'd use. And I guess being able to meet people that
social.
Yes, so social, and also getting to meet other people that might be interested in my work, like making connections with the civic society, and also just recently the people from the Green Patch.
That's right. Yeah,
maybe there's even an opportunity there. Who knows?
Exactly. There's opportunities. Like I was saying a bit earlier, Satveer, it's like we love to work with other groups and other organisations and companies like yours. And we just literally came back from Green Patch Kettering, which is a community garden, and we just went there with our sketchbooks today. And I like to pack a lot in because we were down there for just over an hour, and they've done some lovely drawings. And we're down there, we met the chickens, and we kind of got involved in the gardens and sort of saw it out in the sun. It's a beautiful day. So we're trying to do as much as we can. But as Max says, I mean, they might want artwork that he could produce or the group could produce down there. It's anything and everything, really.
And the opportunities it's bringing you, and it will bring you so much more. And that's what it's all about, collaborating within the community. It's just, it benefits us all. Do you know what I mean? So that's amazing, Max. And I just wanted to ask as well, so if someone was thinking about joining the group, what would you tell them? What are the benefits?
I think if someone wanted to join, I think they'll be meeting a great group of people. Regardless of, I guess, what their interests are, they're going to be welcomed.
Yeah, that's. I hope that is what people get from it. That regardless of your interests, you're in, really, because it's like with Neuroverse magazine, we have articles on everything and you can think of, and we try and tailor the whole magazine around different people's interests. So it's not me taking people and saying you must fit our mould. It's more like we'll fit around them. I hope so, anyway.
Yeah. And you guys, I did notice that about the group. It is what the group collectively wants to do, and you kind of put that in place and make it happen, don't you? So it's all about working
Yeah.
together. And then also, guys, just with our wellbeing sessions, obviously I've been working with you guys for like the past year. It's crazy that's been a year. The wellbeing sessions that I've offered, like, what have you gained anything from it? What do you like about them?
Definitely. Oh wow, loads. Just amazing. It's just an absolute godsend that Satveer, you contacted us, because my skill set, as much as at the beginning I wanted it to be about well-being, and I put that in our title because it meant so much to me, because I know from my own experience, like family experience and so on, that like well-being and mental health is really crucial, especially within the neurodivergent community, because a lot of people suffer in silence, and anxiety can be a lot higher than your neurotypical person. But even though I wanted it to be there, it's not my area. I'm an art teacher, originally, and a special needs teacher. And so when you said, "Oh, I've got like a health and wellbeing company," I was like, "Hallelujah!" I mean, it was amazing. And then you come along and you gather everyone around you, and you really delve into different issues that are to do with people's mindsets or habits, or maybe self-esteem, or it could just be simple like life skills. And then you make it fun. I mean, let's talk about how we can be our best selves. And I think simple things you do just make everyone really happy. Like if you've got a quiz, let's not just write down ABC on a piece of paper. You put stations around the room. You've got to run to ABC. You've got to get involved. I mean, what's your, because you're the one kind of doing these things, Max. What did you think of all those sessions?
Yeah, I thought it was definitely an interesting spin on the idea of a quiz.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and one sort of sometimes relate more to thoughts and opinions than necessarily facts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's quite good because people's answers do open up their view of the world, which is interesting to learn. But it's one of those things where some people, they just have, like you, Satveer, have a really straightforward idea there that we're going to move to the answers. But it's not that straightforward, because I just wouldn't have thought of it. You got the obvious little gem of an idea. And also it ties in with what you teach about movement and the body, and how important it is to kind of enjoy your own, be happy and alive in your own skin, so we're not always just sat down. And of course, as artists, we do a lot of sitting down, so that was one element that I love. But also, you've just got a very empathetic way about you, and I think people took to that very quickly. Just on a sort of intuitive level. And you've brought a lot. Oh yeah, and they love the smoothies, the shakes, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And I honestly love the connection we've made. Like how you said it was God sent. I feel the same way. And honestly, when I first met you guys and the way you embraced me, and it was just amazing. You were so lovely and warm to me. And just, I'm learning so much from you guys. Like, seriously, it's just the best. And I'll come sometimes when I'm not doing a session, just if I need time out, I'll come and attend a session because you guys make me feel so good. And it's just the best thing ever, honestly. Like, as much as like it's a business working together in that sense, honestly, genuinely care for the group, and I want you guys as well to see me as your friends. It's just been such an amazing connection into my life, personal life. It's been amazing.
Definitely, I feel the same. I think there's something to be said for crossing specialisms as well. Like, I guess some people would say we're an art and craft group, we're going to do anything related to arts, but we're not going to go down that route of doing, let's say, meditation or something. But my answer to that is, why not? Because variety is the spice of life, isn't it? So, and also you don't know what's going to help you personally until you try. And I think it's speaking, as the parent of somebody with autism as well, and as people, people I know and so on. Sometimes it feels so much safer to stay doing the thing you always do. It's your safe zone. But meeting someone like you and doing some of the things we've done with you, it pushes even me out of my safe zone sometimes, and that's really healthy. I'll just try something that I wouldn't have actually done before, and then you think, actually, that's my new favourite thing, for example. Maybe you just, that was fine, but I'll go back to my drawing, whatever. But it's just try things, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. Anything that's going to better our health, well-being, and make us just feel better overall. Do you know what I mean? So, Max, in one word or one sentence, how would you describe Shine Arts and Wellbeing group?
So
this will be good. Well. But it'll be good. He's very good with words. Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
We need a drum roll or something.
Yeah, all your fireworks.
Yeah, I know. Should try and make that happen again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a word.
It doesn't go for the obvious options. Never.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I was trying to think of like a noun, like whatever the noun form of artistic is, and I wasn't sure whether it was like artisticness or maybe artism.
I like those.
We're starting a new
Yeah,
movement.
that's the
Artism.
the artistic spectrum. Yeah,
The artistic, that's what we're about, not the autistic spectrum, the artistic spectrum.
I like. I'm not. That's going to be a new word going forward.
I do often say to people, my favourite people I work with, and they're the artistic autistics. So I think we're going to get another guest in a moment. So we'll say bye to Max. Thanks very much, Max.
thanks for having me on. And if anyone's watching, then you know what channel to subscribe to.
It's all Jet.
Yeah,
REXELJET.
yeah, that's
YouTube. Go to it now.
Yeah, that's entirely if you want to, though.
People will want to when they see that what's on there. It's amazing. And honestly, Max, thank you so much, like, for coming on as well and sharing what you have. And people,
Yeah,
please do
well,
follow him.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed being on here.
Brilliant.
Oh,
That's good.
thank you.
He's an incredible narrator on his YouTube channel. He narrates all of it. Those of you that do go on to Rexeljet, all narrated, all drawn, all the work. It's all his own. No AI involved.
Nah.
There you go. It's incredible. Thanks, Max, so much. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Thanks, Max. I appreciate that.
Hi, Satveer.
Hi, Sean. You okay?
Yes, thank you.
Sean, and just tell us how long you've been at the Shine Arts and Wellbeing group.
Since it began, I mean, like, since the very beginning.
And Sean, tell me, what is it that you love about being in the group?
The socialising and the freedom.
Yeah. And how does it make you feel? Do you enjoy it?
Yes, very much so. I love it.
Yeah, I think she's very much in tune with the universe. She's very, very spiritual. Opportunities come along and she grabs them. She's a character and a half, aren't you, Sean?
Yeah.
But we love her for it. 100%.
Yeah, she's so much fun, and just being part of the group, like it's a chance for you to just make friends. Like, do you see it as well, Sean, as like a second family, just coming together?
Yes, I do.
Good. And what type of activities you do each time, like with the sessions? What do you enjoy the most?
My sewing. We've done sewing before.
Yeah, we have.
Drawing. All sorts of stuff.
Like the clay work. Actually, you probably prefer the not messy artwork, I'd say. Yeah, but she'll give anything a go.
Yes.
Particularly enjoying the current project because Sean loves fashion and historical fashion, and we're doing work on the Georgian and Regency period. Yes, you love that,
I know where to get the outfits from. There's a brand called Secret Darkness, what sells the proper, like, underskirts, the proper, like, you know,
like from the 19th century. But
Sean's
this is
definitely the passion.
Yeah, this is a big project that's kind of about local heroes in history. So I won't go into all the detail on it. But when we said we were working with a film school and that we'll be helping them to make a film about these heroes, and I mentioned the word costume, Sean comes to life.
Imagine. So it's definitely. And let's announce on the talent show. Tell us your stage name, Sean. Come on.
Twain.
Shauna Twain.
Yeah.
And an amazing performance.
Come on, let's do it. Man, I feel like a woman.
Going out tonight, I'm feeling alright. I'm going to have a real good time.
So, well, not only was she Shana Twain, later on she was also Shani Spears. Which Britney song did you do?
Crazy.
Yeah, with big up girl power.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
And Sean, tell me as well, like, since working with you at the wellbeing sessions, have you benefited from them? Have you enjoyed the sessions that I bring you? What do you enjoy about them?
Especially the ones about, like, you recommending me, like, supplements and stuff like that, and they've been really helpful to me. Like, because sometimes, because of me being vegetarian, obviously, like, I just sometimes do struggle with nutrition.
We've got coming up, we're going to focus more on a women's wellbeing session amongst us guys. So that's something to look forward to. So
Yeah, whether it's that lady time.
Listening to your podcast actually recently, Satveer, it's made me realise how passionate I am about that, because obviously, you know, not I don't want to bring anything negative into this, but women, you know, have had a hard time over the years. And sometimes we're encouraged to compete when actually we should be doing the exact opposite, which is, you know, support and encourage and build up and
about health.
Hold up
About
health.
Health is definitely most important.
Definitely. And if you're a neurodivergent woman, even more so, because you've got the kind of disadvantage of being a woman in the world. Let's face it, there is still misogyny out there. Because sometimes your mood and your temperature and your well-being can fluctuate according to different factors. Women stuff.
Exactly, and that's what, like you said, it does need to be highlighted more, and we do need to come together more in women's spaces and speak of our experiences and just support one another and empower one another, like you said. But as women, like when we enter these different stages,
but it's great talking about it, because we'll definitely do a project
about health.
But at the end of the day, people, you know, women do have a complexity of issues which men don't have. And it's really important to be mindful of that, because sometimes that gets reduced in society and, you know, it gets kind of almost made fun of, and that is not okay. Thinking about perimenopausal time and menopausal time, which I'm sort of going into, that's not really been broached properly by barely anyone in society. Companies are only just beginning to make a little bit of, you know, special measures for it. You know, this is debilitating for some women. It really is huge. So that's one thing. And it can go on through your whole life. You don't have to be menopausal. But we just want to be positive. And the great thing about Shine Arts and Wellbeing is we've got a lot of allies. We've got people in the group who are men but totally support us, don't they? So we're
50-50.
There's a lot of that. We're mutually supportive.
that's it. And it's nice as well for us to come together in a mixed group to voice women's experiences, so men are more aware of our experiences just as much as we can learn from them. It's really important for them to learn about what we do go for women as women, because it can be a lot.
It is ever such a lot. And again, I'll keep flying that flag for neurodivergence. It can be magnified 100-fold by having, for example, autism or ADHD or ADHD, because the hormones are all over the place, and your anxiety levels are elevated anyway in some of these cases, and it's a different brain type. So when you go through stages as a woman, you might react slightly differently hormonally to a neurotypical woman. That can make it even more complicated, because I mean, especially I know other teenagers that are neurodivergent, and it's almost like having a special thing. The phase. Like all teenagers go through a phase, but it's even more important because it's kind of like something to cling on to, as they call it, a special interest. I actually hate that expression, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. And it helps you through, doesn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. But sometimes what they're missing is the peers to be able to talk about what they're going through.
Yes.
It almost becomes like, right, I'm into this band or I'm into this thing, and it's giving me a feeling of protection. But it would be nice if more autistic people, for example, were able to talk about that experience between themselves. It's not like they're all having exactly the same experience, but everyone gets lonely regardless.
Like what Shakespeare's, the music be the food of love, play on.
Music can be a wonderful companion. I've got to be honest, that's true.
Definitely.
But here we almost always have music on when we're doing our art and craft, and that is like another source of joy.
It is. That and Leonardo, Bach, Vinci.
I think we're talking about Sean's love of animals, pets, and music, and combining them together there.
Wow.
Jokes.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, jokes.
Was there something about Mozart there?
Mozart.
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 It is.
If you love art, music, and cats, we end up with Mozart.
Yes, you could just tell the fun that you guys have. I love this. I want people to see this.
Yeah, that's great. She's such a great character.
She is so lively, honestly. But that's another great thing as well. Like, other than being in the group, you socialize as well outside of it. Like, I've attended as well some of your social events. It's beyond the group. there's so
Well,
much more.
It is, because that's like how we feel about each other. We're friends as well as arty people. But one of the things that I loved that we did was that there was a charity ball that was being run by the hospital in Kettering. It was being run specifically by the department that were heading up sort of special needs and autism, and they wanted to raise money for that area. So I thought, well, there's nothing closer to our hearts here, and it's a red carpet, full 3-course dinner, black tie. It was like that. And I said to the group, how many of you have been to an event like that? And I don't think there were any hand. There might have been one hand up. No one.
No,
we went.
Yeah.
And we went because I was able, through funding, to subsidise their ticket. So, the ticket was an amount, and they paid like 1/3 of that. And then they got the full, being treated like royalty for the night, or like celebrities. And let me tell you, she can work the red carpet. So that's an experience that I hope they got, that they would never have got otherwise. The royal wave. We have to do the royal wave. Come on, Satveer. Well, we on a kind of more grounded level. Look, why don't you tell everyone listening what we did for artwork today? What did we do today?
We did cut out like those cutty
silhouettes.
So you draw the side of your face like as if you were cut down the middle.
We are looking at this Georgian theme, and in the Georgian era there were lots of portraits, small portraits that were done as silhouettes in a profile of that person, largely quite important people, but it could be anyone. And basically they've been drawing and learning how to draw in profile and how to make that look Georgian, the kind of bows in hair, big hair, and the dresses the women wore, and they've really enjoyed that. It's quite accessible as well, because you don't have to worry about detailed get in the face in. It's just literally a shadow, a silhouette. They will go in frames, they will get displayed, and then they will get filmed by a film school who will use the sequence of filming those silhouettes in part of the film they're making about local heroes. We're also producing something very meaningful in terms of the work at the same time. So it's celebrating people who've done amazing things. One guy called Sancho that we're celebrating, who is going to feature in these artworks, who was the first black voter in Britain, and he was helped to achieve that by one of our local heroes, the Duke of Montagu, back in the 18th century. Also William Knibb, who helped to abolish slavery.
Amazing stuff, like, honestly, and it's just incredible as well to be a part of it. But Sian, I just want to say thank you as well for just sharing what you have and being on this podcast. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon, Sian. So just thank you so much.
And all loves and all loves.
Oh, bless. Thank you.
I've got one more person who probably wants to speak, but he's only got 5 minutes now.
No,
okay, thank you, Sian.
Thank you, Xavier.
Thanks, Sian. Take care. So, Ashley, just how long have you been at the group, and what you love about being part of the group?
Since its inception about 2022, one thing I really love about it is us being able to come around as a community while constantly talking about mental health. We're doing whatever we like, and just being open about what we obviously communicate about, while at the same time being considerate for one another and trying to make sure we hold on to each other through the worst of times and the best of times.
Quoting Dickens there.
Tale of Two Cities it is, yeah.
Well done, you. It is.
And what type of activities do you enjoy the most being in the group?
Mostly illustrations. I also do enjoy plenty of like history learning, crafts, lots of different varieties of activities, while at the same time us being able to go to some place, like for example the Green Patch, which I thought was actually quite nice.
Oh, lovely. And I've seen some of your amazing artwork again from the talent show. The drawing that you did there, it was just like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, and his work does almost always appear in our magazine, which will be out by the end of this week. I'm going to say that right now in faith. So it's the 2nd of June, so keep your eye out, because the newest edition, it's edition 6 of Neuriverse magazine. And I mention it because there's a whole page just dedicated to Ashley's drawing. One time we were selling the magazine, and he's amazing at selling the magazine. We were selling it at a Christmas fair over at Rishton Historical Transport Museum. And I bumped into an old art teacher friend of mine who was looking round that night. And she bought a magazine, and she rang me up at 11 o'clock at night. She knows I stay up late. She rang me up just to say, who is this Ashley guy? Because his drawings are absolutely incredible. And she's the head of art over at a mainstream school locally. And, and also just the talent of the guy in terms of being able to speak to members of the public, being able to be an advocate for us as a group, an advocate for people who don't, people who are in the margins of society. Ashley's very passionate about, being their voice, and also artists generally. So he's just like an ambassador for everything we're trying to do.
While at the same time being very pro LGBTQ plus, and at the same time making sure that people with different backgrounds should get treated equally and with respect.
And when I talked about having feminists in the group who are men, this is the sort of person I'm talking about.
Amazing support.
Having that, because we like to be a safe space at Shine. Even if you're not arty, it's a safe space for neurodivergent people. Ashley's the sort of person who, if someone new comes into the group, his eyes are on them immediately in terms of making sure they're okay, making sure they're comfortable, making sure that they feel that their needs are met. Just, my work is done. With somebody like Ashley in the group, I don't need to do much.
I felt like that when I first came to work with you guys. Like, honestly, Ashley, you've embraced me so much. You've been so kind, and also I've just learned so much from you. Like, you're just so knowledgeable on things that are going on in the world. Like, I've learned so much from you, and it's just so empathetic. Like, you're a beautiful soul. Like, seriously, working with you, like our wellbeing sessions, and do you feel like you benefit from them? Have you been enjoying them so far? What is it that you enjoy?
I mostly enjoy the fact that us being able to not at the same time communicate, but also get our feelings out and how I feel about what the world is coming to or how it's going on in the world.
He worries about the world we live in, which is quite right.
Yeah, definitely. And if you could describe in one word or a sentence of the group, describe the group for you, what would you say?
I'd probably describe it like a comradeship, as if a massive the whole you have a round table at night and all considered to be comrades. We're like that.
Lovely.
Camaraderie, and we're knights of the round table.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't it?
I love that. And actually, just quickly, because I know you're strapped for time, but if someone was thinking about joining the group, what would you tell them to encourage them to join?
I would pretty much encourage them to join because it's able to not only focus on your strengths, it's also able to help you by what your worries are, how you express them, and it's as I'm going to literally paraphrase something from Ratatouille. Anyone can draw. You don't have to be professional.
Anyone can draw. You don't have to be professional.
Everyone.
That's very true. We do have, a spectrum of confidence in the arts, and confidence in the arts is not as important as confidence in yourself. But I very much believe that the arts will build your confidence if you let it into your life. So we've got people that have degrees in art. We've got a couple of people with a degree in art, and we've got other people who probably wouldn't say that they, even enjoy drawing as a hobby, but they'll have a go, and they'll have a go when they're with us, and they'll surprise themselves very often. That's great. And of course, art is not just drawing anyway. Although coming from an illustration background, it is difficult to come away from that, isn't it?
It is.
As we both do.
Yeah, we often do it a lot.
And it's just such a creative space for people to come and be themselves and express themselves, and it's a safe space to do that, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
Totally, yeah, it is. But there's so many overlaps, like in what you do and what we do, because, for example, we've got this scheme where we get people doing some cooking on a Monday, and we call it Shine Chefs. And of course, then we can overlap into what you do with nutrition, but that's something that overlaps really well. And as I said at the beginning, the fact that I named it Wellbeing Arts and you are a wellbeing expert, and everything to do with just staying connected and social, which is a real challenge more and more in this world of AI and social media.
Post-pandemic, it's crazy, really. It's as if a lot of people are just trying to think about, okay, step into the world, what to do.
But we are together 2 days a week, and we have been for 3 years, and we will continue as long as we can. We are together in person. It's about being together. It's really important, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Humans are very social creatures.
We're so social. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Take care. Bye.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.
He had,
What is it?
he had a taxi, so he had to go.
Louise, what are some of the accomplishments that you and the group are most proud of?
Well, I just think that really it's the collaborations, especially when we get out into the community. The magazine, for example, when we did that, it was just like, wow, we're actually projecting ourselves out into the world now, because we were doing things at the beginning back in 2022. We were sort of in a community hall in Burton Latimer. We were doing craft, and people didn't really know we existed. We were just quite small fry then. And then as you realised that people wanted to put their work into this magazine and create articles, and then we got that printed and sent out, and then we got funding as well to actually print it for a year. You sort of think, oh, somebody else believes in what we're doing and they want to know. And then the fact that they were writing the articles, that they were like, oh, I want to write about space, I want to write about my latest art project, oh, I want to write about a trip I went on one day, oh, I want to show some photography, I want to show some poetry that I wrote. And you think, nobody would ever see this if we weren't printing it, and it's brilliant. It's so lovely to share it with the world. And also, it gave them that sense of importance. So I think when we started to make the magazine and sell it and have that in various locations, and then we started to do community projects, that's what made me most proud, because I felt that they were being showcased, they were getting out into the wider world. And actually, it's an accomplishment to do it, because it would have been nerve-wracking for some of them, especially when we went to do collaboration work and we went out into the town and were doing spray art on the streets with the graffiti artists, and people were walking past and seeing what they were doing. That takes real guts, for anyone, let alone somebody with a neurodivergence or an anxiety issue, or that has issues with communication or whatever it might be. And yet they were out there doing that. So I'm just so proud of them. That's my proudest moment, when they go and do something like that they weren't expecting to be able to do.
Yes, I can imagine. Seeing them evolving and growing in confidence as well. Like you said, they're kind of reluctant to do those things, and then to see them embracing it and just being so confident in doing it is an amazing sight to see, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. But have there been any other exhibitions, performances, projects that stand out as major milestones to you guys, or anything coming up even?
Yes, we have an exhibition of our artwork. First big one, because we have only had 4 ones sort of in the library where we meet, but this one is going to be at Wixley Park. It's going to be from the 1st of August and run through most of August, and it will show all the sorts of art projects, and maybe even some of our wellbeing projects too, showcased in that exhibition for the whole month. And for me, that's going to be probably the biggest thing we've ever done, actually, because it shows all those things that were happening week by week that people wouldn't have necessarily known about unless they were on our socials, because we've got Instagram, Shine_Well2, and we've got Facebook, Shine Arts and Wellbeing. It's all there online, but I'm quite a traditionalist and quite old-fashioned, and the idea of exhibiting and actually having real work in front of you that you can touch and feel and see. We talk a lot about AI and how we're sort of trying to counter it in a way, because real people, real artwork, real artists, that's where it's at for us. So yeah, the exhibition's a big deal coming up. We've got other projects working with the Kettering Civic Society in particular. We're working with them to work alongside UK Film School and make a film which is about local heroes. Again, some of my group might want to feature as actors. Some of them will be making artwork. Well, all of us will be making artwork to feature in the film. They might get involved in other aspects of filmmaking. We've also been asked to produce artwork to put in Kettering train station. I mean, like permanent work to celebrate Kettering and its history and what it has to offer and all of that. And that was amazing to be given that opportunity, because in a way it just related to a project that we did independently about shoes. And because that was about Northamptonshire's shoe industry heritage, other people in the local area who are into history sort of said, oh, would you like to work with us? So it kind of just all happens organically and just by chance that you meet people, like meeting you. So we've been given opportunities that from our humble beginnings, meeting together and doing a bit of craft together, maybe putting on an exhibition in the local church. We're sort of now beginning to really showcase more and more. So
yeah, it's so lovely to see, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Collaborating within the community, keeping the human connection going, because like we just touched on an AI, we don't want to go that way too much.
yeah.
Collaboration is so important. And why is it so important to you?
Well, I think that the big shift for us was when we left hiring a hall, which was just quite a general sort of community centre that where there wasn't groups that were happening all through the week or anyone particularly at the centre of it. But we moved from there, and that was fine to start us off. But we moved from there to the community library that's sort of like owned by the town council in the town where we live. And in that library, it's very much not just a library. There was already lots of community groups for young people, elderly people, people supporting with dementia, people just doing things like hobby, Scrabble, walking groups were meeting there, tea and coffee mornings, you name it. But when I spoke to the manager, who's a friend of mine from my teaching days, she said, we don't have anything for additional needs. And I said, oh, okay. She said, also, we run from Tuesday to Friday, but we always close the library on a Monday. So I said, we meet on a Monday. And I said, can we hire it? So what happened there was, because we then became part of a sort of community within a community, then people got to know us better. And then we sort of get offers of, oh, would you like us to come and do this with you or that with you? For example, one of the library volunteers also looks after guide dogs. She brings them to look after them before they then go to their forever home. And she also had a litter born this year in January. So she said, I can bring the guide dogs to meet the group, which we all know the therapeutic quality of being around dogs, and kind of, it's wonderful. And almost everyone in the group is a massive dog lover. So we then went to meet them as puppies, and it's just magic. That was magic. That was just a small thing. We've worked with other groups that support neurodivergent people, like Enfold Autism Charity, and other groups like Practical Matters that help additional needs people with practical and, as the name implies, paperwork, things like that, CVs, etc. I couldn't actually, even though we've only been open for 3 years, I couldn't actually read back to you everyone that we've been in contact with and worked with, because the list is too long. That's become really important to us, because I just feel like if you're going to make a difference to your community, you need to be in the community. There's no point hiding away on your own in one little space where people don't even know you're there. You're not impacting. And that's something I'm passionate about. So we do a lot of that.
Lovely. And it was all, like you said, by being involved in the community, it's all the opportunities that have come from it, which is amazing. It's about supporting one another, which is good. Speak to me as well, Louise, about the vision for the future of Shine Arts, and what do you hope to achieve? Like, what's your dream and vision with Shine Arts for the future?
My dream is that no neurodivergent person, especially young adults, but nobody who lives in my local area, county even, would feel like they haven't got something to contribute, or would have a creative talent that never gets discovered by anyone, because they just find it hard. Not everyone does, but they might find it hard socially, for example. But actually, in a group like this, where we're safe and we're very, totally accepting, I think, of everybody, every type of person, then, my dream, I suppose, is that they'd find that safe place. In the long term, because I'm only one person, it's like their talents and their ability to nurture others could be used, but also we'd just love to have a hub. Financially, it's a complete dream, but we'd love to have our own premises. We'd love to have our own, minibus. We'd love to have this thing where everyone knows where Shine Arts is, and they can come, they can chill, be creative, get involved in various projects, have staff who could maybe head up different areas. Where we are now, it's me plus some volunteers. I have amazing volunteers. I have ladies that come in and they do a beautiful lunch for the group every day we meet, or they work alongside us, people like yourself doing amazing wellbeing stuff. But it is 90% voluntary, because that's all we can do. I'd love to employ people. I'd love to employ young people who want to work with special needs people themselves, or that they have an additional need themselves. And I'd love to employ and help them to get on to the ladder of employment. my dreams are big, but I don't know whether they can. I don't know whether they can happen. But I know that every day something arises that is an opportunity, and I do tend to grab them. Who wouldn't when you have the encouragement of a group like this? They're on board with everything. You can dream big then. That's what I've learned from them, not to be cynical about anything. They're not,
and that's amazing.
and they've had a hard time, some of them.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's
So,
amazing. And dream big, and all that you want for it, it will happen. It's happening. And we will get there. And what I did want to touch on as well, because with all that you're doing, you're running this company single-handedly, almost like you said, with the volunteers' help, of course, but for you to start it all off in the first place, you're a mother, you're a wife, there's so much going on. As women, life can be really lifing out here. So it's very much like, I like to ask women as well, how do you take that time out for yourself, Louise, where you're concentrating on your own well-being? What measures do you have in place for that protected time for yourself and your well-being? Like, what keeps you grounded?
I have a most incredible partner. My husband Paul is just so supportive. I pretty much just need something quite small, like going for a walk with him, or we've got a really lovely spaniel dog that we take out getting out and walking is a big one that we try and do regularly. I need that to clear my mind, and I need that. Just little creative projects at home that I might get involved in here and there. I've got to be honest, my work-life balance with this isn't good. I mean, I'm always thinking about what Shine can do next. I love getting out there with my daughters, doing, just girly things. Like we went out Saturday to Market Harborough, just, take it in, go into charity shop, find some trendy things, go to a coffee shop, be together, play games. I mean, we love board games. We love also just little video games, bit of Super Mario Party. That's a big popular one in my house.
Nice.
Listening to music and dancing. I love Northern Soul. I like to dance in my kitchen.
Good.
But maybe I'm presenting more of a life balance than it sounds, but it is quite hard because as a creative person, you're buzzing with ideas, and I can't always stop thinking about them. So
That's
it. But what I'm saying is I've got a wonderful family, and my extended family too, also incredibly lovely and supportive. So I'm lucky in that way.
Nice. And like you said, with so much going on, it's hard to find that balance. But as long as you do take some time out where you are focused on your well-being, because it's really important to do so, because you do have a lot going on. So I did want some advice from you, Louise. So what advice would you give to who are thinking about launching like their own community type of project? What advice would you give them?
I would say just do not be proud to ask for help, because coming from a teaching background, when it came to all of the implementation of policy, finance, trying to even simple things like opening a business bank account or making sure that everything was in place, to like public liability insurance. Never dreamed in my life I would need that or even know what it was. And I had to ask. I went to a group called Northamptonshire Community Foundation, NCF, and they also sort of manage lots of funds in the county. And they were incredibly helpful and really friendly and endlessly patient as well. So I met there was a lady there called Sandy Goodoy, and she just helped me so much, so many emails back and forth. As did another group called NACRE, who give funds to small rural groups in the area. They kind of sought me out, and said, right, we can see you've opened a group. What can we do to help you? So I think the key is don't try to do anything alone. You have to, as a community group, that's the point. You have to reach out to the community from the first day and believe that even though no one knows you're there at the beginning, just keep speaking you out, keep your voice going out there, however it might be, talking to people like you, social media, because eventually someone sees you. And I've had so many people that have come back to me and said, I saw what you did. I was looking at your Facebook posts. Because it can get lonely. You're sitting there making your social posts. But, if somebody comes back says, I saw what you did and I really loved it. And you're almost like shocked. What? Someone out there saw me? And I think, that's the thing. Look after yourself and be positive, because in the early days, it can feel a bit like, does anyone care? Does anyone know? So you've got to say, I'm here. Talk to me about it. Yeah, you've got to do that.
Yeah, oh, wicked. I love that. Great advice. That's it. Because like you said, it can be a lonely journey, and it's overwhelming, but it's key, isn't it, to reach out. There's so many people are surrounding you that are there willing to help you. That's what I've found as well on my business journey, like through networking, through being involved in the community. You'll find that there's so many people out here supporting one another. They want the best for you, and it's just an amazing connections you make. And like you said, it's keeping your own dream and vision alive by putting yourself out there, and believing in it so much. And like times there are going to be, like you said, is like, is this my con? I sometimes feel like that sometimes. But you do still have to keep putting yourself out there, and soon opportunities do come around, and it's just amazing how things do fall into place. So
like I think that you must, it's something you must have felt yourself, just like you're believing in yourself, you're putting yourself out there. You feel a little bit like that one-man band because you're having to do all the instruments, if you like, all the areas of the company on your own. But if you believe it, it will come to fruition eventually. These people who come to my group, who encourage me every week, so you almost have to have double the amount of resilience and double the amount of determination. But how you've overcome that, for example, is connecting with groups like this. And then that's brilliant, because we get all the benefit and you get the benefit of maybe not feeling so isolated at times. I don't know what it does for you, but I know that we are so grateful. And it's like that, starting your own business financially, it's hard too. And you've got to have other income streams. But I think if you've got it in your heart and you can't stop thinking about it, you've got to try. You've got to, because otherwise you're going to get to that point in your life when you're old and grey and you think, you don't want to be thinking, I wish I had.
Coulda, woulda, shouldas. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had tried to have my own business. I never thought I could. I was a teacher. I was institutionalized, You think this is safe, but I think if you've got that little bit in you that's a bit out there and a bit quirky and you think, oh, but I could try that, let yourself do it. Even if you can only say, right, I can only do this for 6 months or a year. I had 2 years I gave myself before I could wage myself, a very modest wage, but I had 2 years with no wage at all. Now, I know that's a luxury, and I know there are many people that would be listening that would say, well, that's great for you, but there's no way I could do that. We had to change things up a bit. My husband was really supportive, and we said 2 years, and somehow that's how it worked out. After the 2 years, funding was coming in, not from my wage, but funding was coming in more so. It's a lot of work in putting in funding bids. And then eventually I actually had a bit of a catalyst, because I had the National Lottery say, do you know what, you don't charge enough to the people coming. And I was like, but I don't want to charge them anymore. But they said, yes, but even if we give you money, there's a sustainability issue, because we'll get to the end of that part. And then I upped it a bit, and I thought, this is so risky. But the guys just wanted to stay. I still charge half as much as most of the sort of local settings, but they wanted to stay. They paid the extra. Then I could say, oh, okay, I can give myself this little bit per day. And then I had a job. It wasn't just like I'm serving, and it is all about serving. It really is for me personally. It's all wrapped up in my faith as a Christian as well. But it's still serving, but I'm able to sort of give myself something that makes my efforts worth something. So now I can say, which took 2 years to, and that's, in fact, it was just over 2 years. And I still can't pay myself anywhere near I did as a teacher, but it's so worth it, because this feeds your soul. It's not just a job. And I'm lucky. I know how lucky I am. But if you can, as they say, if you can find a job you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. That's what they say, isn't it? Yeah, and that's how I feel about Shine. It is like that. Everything I've ever loved and the people I want to serve. And I can, make it real because I'm paying myself. So that's where we are. What I want to be able to do is, as I said earlier, give somebody else a job. That would be that's, I think there's quite a big step between where I am and that though. But who knows? And if there's anyone out there who's thinking, what will I do? Maybe it's after they've done their studies, or maybe they're still studying, or they might be not in a job at the moment, especially young people that are involved in care or additional needs. I would say, please come and volunteer with Shine, because it will do you a lot of good and it will do the members a lot of good. And one day you might even be part of a company that's actually able to give you proper employment. But even if we can't do that, then we can open up opportunities or experiences for you.
That's it.
I'd love to see more of that. That would help in so many
It's
ways.
amazing.
I would put that out there.
No, and I'm
Yeah.
glad you do, because it's true, like you said, because you will learn so much from coming to your group. It's the experience you'll gain, and just being amongst that, and the opportunities that will come from it. And eventually, like you said, it will grow. It's only
No.
natural for it to be up and away.
Right, we're taking off.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
But the NHS and teaching is so similar, aren't they? You do what you've always done because you've always done it. And of course, you're contributing massive amounts to society in that. But the trouble is that it can be so restrictive in so many ways. Personal individuals don't really have their skills drawn out because you do what you've always done as you've been told to do it. And paperwork mounts and mounts and mounts and mounts, and much of it is meaningless. Sorry, that's a little bit controversial to say that, but it's meaningless paperwork that has to be done, the bureaucracy of it all. And then you think, actually, if I've got my own project here, we will do whatever we feel we want to do, and we won't waste our time on meaningless tick charts. And that's where I am now.
Wow.
It means a lot to me anyway. It does.
And it's amazing. And the difference you're making, it's amazing. It's more fulfilling as well, as much as like we do have our previous careers and stuff. I feel, because before Louise, I even though I had a career as a midwife, I still didn't feel fulfilled, and I felt like I had no purpose, and I wasn't really aligned to what I was doing. But just like you said, when you're doing something you love, it doesn't feel like a job. Like with what I'm doing, still a long way to go where I want to be with it, but I just feel so fulfilled and excited, and I've never had this excitement before ever in my life until I started changing things up.
And that's it. I think as well, when you step back and you think, is there a need? And that's the important bit. And there's definitely a need for what you're doing, because women who neglect their own well-being in so many, a plethora of different ways, don't even know they're doing it because they don't have time to think about it. And you say, stop, let's help, let's make sure you're okay for a change. There's that. But I mean, that's just tapping the surface of what you do, I know. And for me, I said before, you go through it. Those people, these neurodivergent people, go through education system and are served beautifully, but they hit 18 and then it's, what on earth do you do now? I mean, the majority of people in my group are NEETs, so they're not in employment educational training. And because of that, it can make you feel quite worthless as an individual, which is absolutely tragic, because they're clever, they're empathetic, they're skillful, they've got so much potential. Okay, maybe the traditional workplace won't be the right environment for them, but we can certainly draw on their talent somehow. That's what my group's trying to do. Nobody should feel like they've got nothing to contribute. So that's where it is. I think, of course, there are lots of different settings that they could go to, but it's actually quite hard to find one that those individuals are totally comfortable in. So I'm giving them another option, an option that's, I hope, is quite unique. And that's why I think, it's something that's worth doing, because my teaching career was worth doing. Of course it was. I wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't done my teaching career. But I couldn't really be fully me. And people I work with couldn't fully benefit from my skills or my ethos. Now with what you do, what I do, I hope we are genuine, our authentic selves, as they say. Completely authentic. And I can see this in you as well. You can give yourself away totally without fear of judgment, because there's no way people in my group would judge me. They are so accepting. It's just glorious. And you don't get that. You don't get that in any other job. Yeah. So, and it's almost like a virtuous circle, because if I can be my authentic self and I don't have to mask or hide or put on a show, they don't mask or hide or put on a show.
Yeah.
That I'm not putting pressure on them. It's not about performance or what they can offer or what they can show. It's just them being them, and then they can say, right, next person who joins us, do you know what? Just be you. And it's a virtuous circle that keep people being authentic.
Definitely. And that's what it's all, definitely. And that's what it is all about, which is what we're all about. Kaur Aura is being free to be your true authentic self and fully embracing it and finding those right spaces where it's going to be accepted. It's not going to be judged, because we are in a world where there are judgy people, and we do have that fear, don't we, where we suppress who we are because in fear of being judged. But I love that we are creating these spaces where people can come, be free to be you, because that's what life's all about.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Louise, wellbeing sessions that I provide, how have they helped their group and their needs? Are you seeing any difference in the group?
Yes, there's an excitement and a buzz when they know Satveer's coming. Like, I only have to mention your name. They know you as Satveer more than Kaur Aura, but then they understand that you've got this company, and they understand that what you offer them, you can offer to a whole variety of different kinds of people. But they just, I think, connected with you. I think that they're able to. It's almost like when you know somebody really, really well, and you've spoken to them in a certain way for a long time, i.e., they know me. They sometimes might have something they want to say, but they wouldn't say. Oh, I wouldn't think of saying that to Louise, sort of thing. But then when you came along, it's like a new face, fresh start, and they might have just suddenly let something out that was pushed down or suppressed a bit.
Yes.
I know they can be open with me, but you know what I mean about different people. And
Yes,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that kind of fresh face thing. And so I think, especially when you do a wellbeing theme and you're talking about something, and they'll just say something to you, and I'm like, I've known you for 4 years and I've never heard about that. But they are willing to open up to you, Satveer, and that's a testimony to the kind of person you are. I just think you've tackled difficult subjects, you've spoken to them in a really accepting, respectful way, and it's helped them to draw some of their worries out. We did the shoebox where they were posting worries, and then you found lots of different agencies to signpost them to.
Yes.
That was really touching. I think they were very touched that you took the time to read them and then signpost them, because a lot of them probably don't open up to anyone about those things, or it's so deeply buried they barely understand it themselves. But you've sort of like started a process of thinking about their own well-being in a deeper way, and what they need, what's not good for them, what is good for them, what they can chuck out of their lives, what they can bring into their lives, all of those sorts of things. And that's just from 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon every few weeks, and you get a lot out of them in a short space of time, I think. And you heard Sian just say, didn't you, that she had some hormonal or some issues going on, and you said, how about trying these supplements? But she said that really helped her and she looked into it. So that's just one person's example.
That's amazing. And that's what it's all about. And as much as, like you said, I'm helping with the group, I feel like they're just helping me so much as well. Louise, because of time, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for sharing your time. And can you just share with us your contact details if anyone wants to get in touch, join your sessions, or even come and volunteer? How would they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So www.shinearts.co.uk, that's the website. You can email me on info@shinearts.co.uk or at lou.shinearts@hotmail. And we're on Facebook, so Shine Arts and Wellbeing, just type it into Facebook. We're on Instagram, and that's shine_well2. So hopefully lots of information there, but you could start with the website, www.shinearts.co.uk.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And thank you again for sharing your time, Louise, and everything that you're doing. It's just amazing and just inspirational. Like, seriously, you're doing an amazing job out here, and I wish you well for your future. And I can't wait to see you for our next session.
Thanks, Satveer. Likewise.
No worries. And thank you all for listening, and just take care, you beautiful beings, and we'll speak to you very soon. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.